everyone. I am so sorry for being late, but I'm so excited to be here with you all on this Saturday morning. I'm really grateful that you've chosen to spend your Saturday morning with me, and I hope it's worth it. I'm so happy to share this recipe with you guys. I tried it out a few times, and let me tell you, it's so delicious. And so let me introduce myself. If you don't know me, my name's Radhi. I'm a plant-based recipe developer, an Ayurvedic health counselor, and also a nutritionist. And I have been in the profession of food, I feel like since I've been born, because I've been so enthusiastic and excited about food my whole life. I have grown up in an Indian family, and so food was pretty much there was no celebration without food. Like, it didn't exist. Food was the center of every single thing that we did. And so, yeah, just the spices and the herbs and the different types of foods that I was exposed to growing up was so varied, and it really, really helped build my taste buds to appreciate and love so many different types of food around the world. And yeah, I've actually been vegetarian since I was born, and I have been vegan for the past 10 years. And so I know my plants pretty well, and I've really, really tried to experiment so much with using flavors from the East and merging them with the West, which is where I've grown up. I grew up in London, and I moved to New York, and then I'm currently in LA. And so it's been really nice trying to merge the different cultures through food and through different cuisines. And it's really, really fun, actually. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to share this recipe with you guys. I also wanted to add that I do a lot to do with conscious cooking and conscious living. And I really have noticed how important it is to infuse so much love and also positive energy into the food that we're cooking, because it not only nourishes us, but it also nourishes the people that we're feeding. And so I'll definitely go on a little bit more about that while we're cooking. But yeah, let's get started. I feel like it's so hot outside here right now, and I've heard from so many of my friends, and I'm sure we've got lots of global people here, that it's very hot in most places at the moment. So this cooling pineapple coconut tart is going to be perfect for this evening's dessert. So let me get started with this. If you're cooking along with me, turn your Thermomix on, and I was going to say bulwark on. And what I really love about Thermomix is, you know, the recipe's right there for you. You don't have to faff around with cookbooks or pieces of paper around you or looking up on a website. I really, really appreciate that it's got the recipe right here on my screen. And let's get going. Oh, give me 1 second. There you go. Oh, sorry, search the recipe, which is very easy on here as well. I had added it to my account. Yeah, that's another thing you can do on here. You can add all the recipes that you want to make for the week onto your cookie dough. So they're here. You don't have to go searching for them anywhere else. They'll always end up appearing on your screen just as you need them, which is how I had it the other day, but for some reason right now it's not here. Pineapple. And you can search by name. So like if you have ingredients in your home that you want to use up, search pineapple or coconut or whatever it is that you have, and it will come up with so many ideas for you. So you don't have to do the thinking. It does the thinking for you. So sorry about that. Oh. Sorry guys, give me 2 seconds. Got it, okay. So I've got all my ingredients already ready, and oh, it's not showing up. Finally, start cooking. Okay, so first of all, it tells us to preheat our oven. I've already done that. It's at 350 degrees. And you know, there's so many simple ingredients in this. We have oats, almonds, dates, coconut oil, coconut cream, coconut sugar. So lots of coconut, which is great because actually in the summertime, coconut is a super cooling ingredient that I really recommend including into your diet on a daily or weekly basis. I think it's really important to include cooling ingredients into our diet, especially when it's so hot outside. So we're going to click next. Next up, we have 5 ounces of, so we're going to start this. We're going to put in our oats. Now I have more than we need, but luckily the Thermomix does weigh it for you. So You don't need to have any extra utensils to weigh. You can just pour it in. It's counting up right now, and we are at 5 ounces. Perfect. Next up, we're gonna add in the slivered almonds. Many of you are cooking alongside with me today. We can hopefully enjoy it later at the same time too. There you go, 5 ounces in. Click next. Next up, we have dates. Actually in Ayurveda, which I'll speak about later, but it talks about these specific foods and ingredients that increases vitality in your body. And dates is actually one of them, and so is coconut. And the word that's used is actually called ojas. And ojas literally translates, it's a Sanskrit word, and it translates to vitality and vibrance in the body. And it says that foods like dates, coconut, and many other foods, they actually increase the vitality and vibrance, which brings your skin to glow and your hair to grow. And yeah, just that overall glow that you have, that you sometimes see people and you're like, oh, she looks really glowy. It's probably those ojas foods that they're eating. So dates are definitely one of them. So I'm really excited to be using them in here. So adding in the 7 ounces. Perfect. Next, we've got 3.5 ounces of coconut oil. So because it's so warm, my coconut oil is already liquid, which is great. 3.5. And I actually cook with coconut oil a fair amount because it's got a high smoke point, which is great, which means that the oil doesn't lose its properties when it's being cooked at a high heat. And so often when I'm sauteing my spices or boiling something for a long time, I'll use coconut oil as the base oil because it maintains its properties and its nutrient value even when cooked. Next up, okay, so put the lid on. And where's my little cup to go on top? Here it is. Putting the lid on top. And next, turn it to speed 10. Okay, it's going to get a little bit loud for a second. Here we go. You could do a dance right now if you like it. Also a very pleasant sound once it's done. There you go, it's ready to go. So now, let me show you the mix. It's so lovely, there you go. Really, really moist and ready to press. And you know what I really love? There were so many ingredients that we put in, and often when I use mixers, I find that the dates end up sticking to the side or some of the dates stay whole. But I really love that this evenly distributes and breaks up the ingredients perfectly, ready to be pressed into the tart. So let me get my tart. So I have my tart pan ready. And the other day when I made it, I'll show you, I actually had a smaller tart tin, but it was great because I ended up making that plus a few little ones as well, which worked out perfectly. So let me put it down. So we're gonna press it into the tart. I actually really love using my hands in cooking. Let me put it down a little bit. I really like using my hands in cooking. And actually in Ayurveda, it talks about how when you are cooking, actually using your hands and using, I mean, every part of your body can be used in a way to bring joy to people. And so it's really wonderful to be able to, in cooking, use our hands to infuse love into it. And so I always think about that while I'm cooking, and really, and you know, it talks about how when you're cooking, avoiding having too many things in your life that are distracting while you're cooking, like really focusing on it as a conscious activity to bring whatever energy it is that you want to. And I find, you know, we always talk about mother's love and how your mum's food is always the best. And it's usually the best because they infuse so much love into it. So I always think about that when I'm cooking and feeding other people, as well as nourishing my body, because not only can I nourish my body while I am cooking, but I can also, while I'm eating, but you can also nourish your mind and your soul too with the energy that you put into the food. And so many people always say to me that when they first hear this, it sounds a bit wishy-washy, like, can you really put energy into food? But I once heard this incredible study that talked about how water was left in different rooms, and in different rooms they were playing different music. And some music had very, very heavy, aggressive beats, and in other rooms they had classical, calming music. And it showed that the different water molecules, when they put it under a microscope, ended up being very, very different. Like, it changed the molecular composition of those of the water. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, I'm sold. I'm going to infuse as much good energy into this food as I can. So I'm actually going to go up. So usually when I press, if you can see here, it's really easy. You just keep pressing your thumb against it. And I just usually keep adding into the middle of the pan and pushing outwards, so it's evenly distributed across. Keep pressing. I'm really excited to show you guys the next part of the recipe, because you create the filling. But what I love about the Thermomix when it comes to the fillings is that with a lot of them, you have to activate certain ingredients. And in this one, you've got cornstarch, which only gets activated when heated. So usually you'd mix it up in a mixer, and then you'd have to take it out and put it onto the stovetop. But with this, the Thermomix is incredible because it actually has a heating agent, like a heating component too. So it makes that mixture, which will be very liquid at the beginning, into a custard type texture without you having to change your utensils or put it into anything else. So I love that. Okay, we are good to go. If you have any mix left over, make a little extra one on the side. So I'm gonna quickly run over, put this into the oven, and then we can get started on our filling. Give me 1 second. So it's going in there for about 10 minutes. It says 10 to 15 minutes at 350. So yeah, now let's do the filling. So this is pineapple in it. And one thing I always recommend, whether it's in summer or in general life, to eat seasonally is so important. You know, our bodies are so in sync with nature. And so really eating foods that's grown on the soil that we're living on, with the climate that we're in, is so important and so vital, and really helps optimize our body, optimize the way that we can live, optimize our health, because it makes complete sense. If you're eating foods that are not in season or not in the climate, one, they're created in an environment that is unnatural already. And then if you're eating summer foods in winter and winter foods in summer, you're kind of confusing your body a lot. So really trying to find out, and it's so easy to find out what veggies are seasonal at the moment. And so, and fruits are seasonal. You'll see them if you go to the farmer's market. You can see all the beautiful fruits and vegetables that are seasonal. And so pineapple apparently is seasonal. So that's why I was really excited to try this recipe out too. So let's go, let's do this. Let me show you what comes up on my screen in case you don't have the Thermomix at home. Let me turn this around. There you go. So it's telling me very simply exactly what to put in here. So we've got 2 to 3. You can do canned slices. I'm actually going to use fresh. So you can change between fresh and canned if you want, but fresh is always better. So we're throwing in our pineapple. And then we've got, let me just show you so you can see exactly how we go through the Thermomix instructions. Can you see it? There you go. So insert mixing cup. Oh yes, and then we're gonna place the mixer on. That's another thing about the Thermomix, which I love. Most blenders are plastic, and which doesn't really make sense, especially if you're making hot soups and anything warm. I just never feel comfortable using plastic with. So this is made from a metal, and so it can do heat, and it wouldn't seep any nasties into the food that you don't want. So it tells you exactly what speed to turn it to. So to turn to speed 5. And we're off. And it counts down as well. Ready. Next. Right, so we have to take it out. So it also gives you instructions of where to store it, how to store it, which is great. So it's chopped it up nice and fine. Take a look at this. And I have to say, actually, I really, really appreciate the chunkiness of the pineapple in this. I like getting little bits of pineapple in the tart. It feels really nice to get those juicy bits. So let's take this out. I always use my hands, but use a spatula. So we're taking these out. Next. Clean mixing bowl. That's pretty clean. Just got a bit of pineapple in there. So I'm going to put in, so now we're going to get to the main part of the filling. So it's coconut cream. And I was wondering, I asked this question too, which I'm sure many people have. A lot of the time you find coconut milk in stores, and coconut cream is there, but it's usually not as visible. And so definitely use coconut cream for this, not coconut milk. Coconut cream cans actually have more of the thick creamy part at the top. So that's actually very important for the setting of the pie or the tart. So yeah, make sure you are using that because there's more liquid when it comes to coconut milk. So we're adding in 2 cans. So this is a very rich dessert, very rich and decadent. My cans. Perfect. So we've got 2 whole cans of the coconut cream and that has just gone in. Now we're adding cornstarch. So like I was saying before, the cornstarch is the part that thickens. It's the part that gives you that firm texture, but only when it's heated because cornstarch needs heat to be activated. So no measuring needed, just chucking it in and it's measuring it for me. So we're doing 2 ounces. Perfect. Next, 1 to 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar. I love using coconut sugar. There have been lots of studies to show that coconut sugar, oh, it's saying tablespoons, that coconut sugar actually has a better effect on blood sugar levels than normal refined sugar, which makes sense because it's, when you have refined sugar, a lot of it's fibers, and the more processed something is, the faster it absorbs into your bloodstream. And so coconut sugar has been said to, and studies have shown that it really, really absorbs into the bloodstream differently. And so use more of it. Lime juice, using fresh limes. I'm sure you all know this trick, but if you rub, if you roll your lime against the surface or around or in your hands, it actually increases your juice that comes out of it. So let's give that a cut. It says 1 to 2 teaspoons. I love my tarts zesty. I really, really enjoy a good amount of zest in most of my foods. So I'm just going to squeeze probably a whole lime in there. It's always nice when you get those sweet limes. You can smell this one, it smells amazing. Perfect. Next, insert mixing cups. So putting the lid on and we are mixing. Oh, now, oh, let me show you this actually. This is great. This is the temperature part I was telling you all about. So it has a temperature, so it's telling you what temperature it's going to be for 12 minutes. And it's going to thicken, which is perfect. So let's check on this tart case, shall we? There you go. Yeah, it's nearly there. So while we are waiting for this to thicken, I thought it might be a nice idea to share with you guys some summer tips because and talk maybe a little bit more about conscious cooking and Ayurveda if you guys want to. You know, summer, it's very hot everywhere at the moment, and I know everybody says you should hydrate. Yes, you should hydrate, but Ayurveda also provides some additional tips so that you're able to hydrate deeper and get deeper into your tissues. One of the ways is using certain spices, and most recommended one in Ayurveda is coriander, cumin, and fennel. So what you can do is either make a mix of all three of them, or you can just add them in separately with the coriander seeds, fennel seeds, and cumin seeds. And if you have a big pitcher of water that you drink from all day, you can add it into that and just keep pouring from it and let it kind of sit in the water. Apparently it helps with, one, the absorption of the water into the cells, but also spices just have such an incredible detoxing quality. Like every single spice has its own ability to nourish your body in different ways. And it's said that coriander, cumin, and fennel are three spices that are great for all body types, and help detox, nourish. And I always think of my spice box as my little medicine box. Like I always think, if you have a good amount of spices in your cupboard, let me show you my spice cupboard. If you have a good amount of spices in your life, then these are all my spices. I use a lot of spices, and I really think that it's helped me stay well and healthy throughout my life. It's like an Under Armour that you keep on. And yeah, so having coriander, cumin, and fennel, all very cooling spices, but also very hydrating. So you can throw that into your teas, you can throw that into your water, you can even throw that into some of your foods. I always have spices throughout all of my foods. The second thing is, just like I said, hot water just now. Many people want to chug down cold water when they're feeling hot. You come back from a hike and you're bright red, and the first thing you want to do is chug down some really, really cooling water. But I mean, so many studies have shown, and Ayurveda really recommends using warm water. So substituting all your ice cold drinks with warm or hot water. It says that the water molecules are able to assimilate into your body so much faster. And it has a deeper hydration level. It penetrates through your cells so much deeper. And so I know it's so sad. I can't say I stick to it all the time. Sometimes you just really need like an iced latte or something like that. But it says generally, if you're able to stick to your, oh, it's thickening. Generally, if you're able to stick to those, stick to having warm water most of the time, that is preferred. What else are they going to share with you guys? Oh, yes, eating seasonally and alkaline foods during summer as well. I'm going to move away from it while it's thickening so that you guys can hear me. So alkaline foods are recommended during summer because many fruits and vegetables can actually have an acidic effect, and usually heat creates more acid in the body. I'm sure many people have noticed that if you go out in the summer heat and you come back and you eat something, you probably are more likely to get acid reflux during the hot seasons than during the cooler seasons. And so trying to balance that out with your alkaline foods. And alkaline foods are really simple. They're not complicated. You don't have to look too much into it. But there's juicy sweet fruits. They're more alkaline than the sour, like obviously then oranges and grapefruits. They end up being sour and end up being more acidic. Having things like squashes, all squashes from zucchini. There are so many different colors that you can get these days, but they are so hydrating, but also alkaline foods. And then there's herbs, so parsley, mint, coriander, all alkaline herbs that you can add into your foods to really cool down your body, but also reduce the acid that can build up during warmer seasons. I always recommend trying to have a lot of hydrating foods too. If you think about all the fruits and vegetables that contain more water, like winter squash, like summer squashes, like celery, all of those things that you would usually make juices out of, they are so great to eat because you're adding to the water content in your body during the time that your body's sweating it out. And also incorporating more salt into your diet during summer because you sweat so much as whether you're exercising or even if you go out on a walk. So adding a little bit of extra salt, you can use pink Himalayan salt, which also has extra minerals and vitamins in it. So you're constantly replenishing your body of what it's losing. And yes, the other thing I wanted to share was something to do with Ayurveda. Now, if you haven't heard about Ayurveda, let me give you a really, really quick summary. Ayur means life and Veda means knowledge. And it's actually a very ancient Vedic, probably the oldest health science to exist or to have been recorded to exist. And yes, it is all about nourishing your body with what nature provides you. So it says that nature has everything that we need. We just need to know how to use it in our body. And we need to understand our body to also understand what it needs from nature to heal it or to nourish it. And the one thing I really was attracted to about Ayurveda is that it's all completely individual. It's not one fits all. It's not like if you have a cold and I have a cold, then we're given the exact same medication. It's all based on, just like we have different genes, we all have genes, but they're all different. In the same way, we all have different elements in our body, but the composition of those elements are different in each person. And so really eating the foods that nourish your body individually and not really relying on external sources to maybe tell us what we need, but really being able to tune into our body. And as soon as we start understanding our body and we start understanding the foods around us and the environment around us, it's very easy to then determine what our body will need. And I can definitely, share some resources with Thermomix to share with you all on this. But I really think it's allowed me to really take charge of my own health in a way that I feel empowered to look after myself and know what my body needs and know how to tune into it. So yeah, definitely wanted to share that with you all because it's such a beautiful practice that I've been doing and learned about Ayurveda maybe 6 years ago. And I've really been trying to infuse the practice into my daily life and into my daily practices. I also mentioned conscious cooking. And conscious cooking is something which I have noticed such a difference in my mindset while I'm feeding people, but also while I'm cooking to nourish myself. And the concept is, like I said before, infusing as much positive energy into it. But it's so much more than that. It's a practice of being present with your food. It's a practice of, before you sit down to eat, maybe say a prayer, whether it's a prayer of gratitude to the person that's grown the food, to the person that has sold you the food at the grocery store, to the person that's cooked it, whatever it's taken to bring the food to the table, really taking a moment to appreciate it and allowing your body to feel grateful for what it's about to nourish your body that allows you to do everything else that you do during your day. And so eating is something we need to do to live, to do what we need to do during the day. And so I feel sometimes it's overlooked as something that we just have to get done and we do it really fast and really quickly, but really taking your time with your food because it is the main thing that's nourishing your body. So really, really appreciating it and showing your body and the food gratitude for what it's about to do for you. Let's take a look at the Thermomix and see what it's doing.
Radhi?
Yes.
Hey, it's Christina from Thermomix. There's a couple questions that have come in that I thought maybe you could address as we're waiting for the
Would love to.
filling to thicken. So there were a lot of questions that came in about the spices. So I just want to make sure I captured them correctly. I think you mentioned it was coriander, cumin, and fennel. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, they are. So different. Coriander, cumin, and fennel are the ones I always recommend to people right from the beginning to start off with, especially for cooling spices. They are the three that are seen as like the queen mix of spices for Ayurveda.
And then is there a specific kind of recipe? You'd mentioned mixing some of the spices with water. So is there like a two
equal
portions
parts
of water, equal parts? Okay.
Equal parts. So you can do, let's say you're making the mix in a big batch. You do 1 cup of fennel seeds, 1 cup of coriander seeds, 1 cup of cumin seeds, or 1 teaspoon, and put it into your water. And to be, oh, you're talking about how much water to the spices? Is that
exactly? Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's say you're doing 1 liter. In 1 liter, you could do a tablespoon of cumin, a tablespoon of coriander, and a tablespoon of fennel, and just leave it on your desk and just drink that. You don't have to strain it. You can just leave it at the bottom. The seeds taste quite nice as well.
And then somebody asked if you could add then mint. Would you add additional herbs to that? Would that be nice?
Yeah, I mean, people infuse water all the time, and I love mint. I think it's a great summer. It quenches my thirst so much more when I have mint in my water. So mint is definitely a cooling herb, and I would definitely recommend you can add that in too.
That's great. And then the other another question that came in, I think people are really excited about the different herbs and spices. So is can you add small amounts of Ayurvedic herbs without affecting the flavor of recipes too much?
Definitely. And so when you say herbs, Ayurvedic herbs, are you talking about like the medicinal herbs like are they talking about ashwagandha or normal herbs and spices?
So this person asked, can you add triphala? I'm probably
Triphala.
not pronouncing triphala to
Yeah.
desserts without bitterness was the question.
You can, but my suggestion always is with things like Ayurvedic medicine, like triphala. For anybody who doesn't know what triphala is, tri means three and phala means fruit. So it's a mix of three fruits. This is done. So it's a mix of three fruits, and those three fruits are said to, I think it's amala, Vimala, and something else. There's three fruits that are mixed together. And what it's actually great for is digestion. So many people use triphala in warm water in the morning and drink it, or at night. And it really helps if you've got any digestive issues, if you find it difficult, going to the bathroom, then it really, really helps regulate you, helps remove toxins from the body. And so what I always recommend is, instead of adding it into desserts, which there's not really a need to, I just recommend taking it in its as raw form as possible, because once you end up cooking Ayurvedic herbs, if you end up kind of messing with their like formulation of how it's entering your body, it can often change its potency. And so I say, if you're taking Ayurvedic medicine, definitely just keep to taking in its purest form, in the simplest form possible, so it's able to absorb simply into the body. I hope that helped.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we'll definitely take more questions later. This is telling me now, let me turn it around again, telling me to add my chopped pineapple, which I have right here. Oh, look, it's thickening. Let's add this chopped pineapple in. Wonderful. And we're going next. Oh, coconut, yes. So I also, in these type of tarts I've added, it says add toasted coconut, but if you are able to get your hands on coconut flesh, like the coconut meat, and chop that in, oh my goodness, that will taste incredible. So I'm putting in the toasted shaved coconut at the moment, but I would highly recommend, if you do have somewhere where you can get the coconut flesh, then definitely add that in at this stage. Insert measuring cup next, and it's off again. Oh, yeah. So yeah, I just love that it gives you exact instructions, and you can just leave it there. It's just going to mix up for about 10 seconds, and then we're going to transfer it into my tart case, and then you have to leave it in the fridge for, it says overnight to but I do think, from my experience of when I made this, overnight is preferred. But I think if you were making it in the morning like we are now, by the evening it should be completely ready for you to dig into. So here we go. This is the tart case all ready, and all we have to do is pour this in now. And yes, I've got a bit of the mixture left over, so I'll probably put that into another tart, or keep it as custard. It'll end up more of like a custardy texture anyway, so you can leave that on the side, put it into the fridge in little Tupperwares, and you could snack on that with some fruit. It would be delicious. So that's going to go in the fridge now. But let me show you one I made earlier. I made this yesterday, and here we go. Look. I hope you guys can see that. It is so beautiful. And actually what I plan to do is put some pineapples onto it too. Maybe some fresh pineapple on the top. I might whisk some up and put it around the sides. But right now I've decorated it with dried raspberries and just coconut shavings. The dried raspberries really add so much nice color to it. And it just looks amazing. I'm so excited to eat this. I probably have to share it with people, which is fine. But yeah, very, very excited to try this. So that is it. That's literally the full recipe. I recommend trying it with some cream, and maybe some cream on the top, and a little bit extra pineapple. So that was super simple. The Thermomix recipe worked great. And yes, I love it. I'm really excited to try it. So did we want to take any more questions?
Thank you, Radhi. That does look delicious. So a couple other questions came in, and again, going back to the herbs, which was, sure. Is the water need to be hot to begin with when you're combining the the spices, not the herbs?
Yeah, room temperature or warm. Obviously, if it's hot, what happen? The good thing about it, if it's hot, is that the spices will release their properties faster. So yeah, ideally if you can put it into warm or hot water, that would be great, and then you can let it cool during the day. But if you don't want to drink hot water straight away, then you can just add them into your regular room temperature water, but just not cold water.
Okay, great. And then I know you mentioned that maybe afterwards you can share some resources with us to share, because we did have a question come in. Are there a few books you would recommend for people who are learning about conscious cooking?
Yeah, I actually have some here. Let me show you some of the ones that I would recommend. Is that okay? Can I share some of these?
Yeah, of course. We have a couple more minutes.
Okay, great. So one of my favorite books, and this is one of the teachers that I actually learned under in New York. She's incredible. There's actually an Ayurvedic restaurant there in New York, if you guys ever want to check it out. But it's called What to Eat for How You Feel. And it's by, her name is Divya Alta. And incredible recipes. Her wisdom is unlimited about Ayurveda. She studied it so deeply, and she's an incredible Ayurvedic chef. Another one that I would recommend, especially for Ayurvedic skincare, because obviously all of our skin is so different too. And the creams and what kind of things you should be using on your skin is so important, because the skin is the thinnest layer of our body, and everything we put on our skin gets absorbed. So I really try and stick to a lot more natural ingredients, or just oils on my skin really. But there's one called Absolute Beauty, which is to do with all of the kind of spices and herbs and things that you can put onto your skin to really help it flourish. So those are my two main ones I would recommend. If anybody's looking to study it, I did mine. I did my course at the California College of Ayurveda, which has been fabulous to learn from, and they're really great.
Awesome, thank you. And then one last comment/question. We have a comment that says, "We love your earrings. They are so yummy looking."
Oh my gosh, me too. They're actually real oranges with the
wow.
seeds. I know, they're real oranges. There's a company called Zest for Life. I actually posted about them yesterday on my Instagram. And she does dragon fruit, she does kiwi, she does all these exotic fruits, and these are oranges. So yes, go and check her out. She's amazing. She's a small business too, a female-owned small business, and she sent me these, and they're wonderful.
They're so cute. Well, Radhi, thank you so much. Can you just let everybody who's watching know where they can find out more about you, how they can follow you on social media, or
Sure.
where they can find you?
Yes, my name on Instagram is Radhi Devlukia, and my website is radhidevlukia.co, not com. And thank you all. I just want to say thank you all so much for bearing with me. This is probably one of the first live demos I've done. Yes, it is the first one actually. So I really, really appreciate you all being patient with me, and I hope this was helpful to you guys in some way, and I hope you all have an incredible Saturday.
Thank you, Radhi. And for everybody tuning in, if you are interested in learning more about the Thermomix, visit thermomix.com/experience online to book a demo with one of our expert consultants, and they can go through and show you, how it fits into your lifestyle. And it's a great way to ask questions and just learn more about the product. Yes. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Radhi. And we'll hope to see everybody else at additional events today. Have a great one. Bye.
Bye. Bye.